Well, hello everybody. It's Saturday, July 2nd of 2023. I'd just like you all to stop and take a moment to think about something. Okay? Now, what if your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren had to grow up in a world where the simple saying to stop and smell the roses was completely nonsensical and had no meaning to them whatsoever, because the roses didn't smell like anything at all? Okay? Now, this may sound sensationalist, but it's not. And it's on its way, because I have been perusing the roses when I go to the plant part of the hardware store. Okay. And they'll have a little section of roses that are like some older school roses, and they'll have this huge section of all these named, trademarked, some of them patented roses that people have been hybridizing. And I'll go through the different varieties and sniff them. And most of them smell like nothing. Okay? So now when you take a plant and you strip out the essence of its character, what you've created is an abomination. Okay? God did not create roses to be scentless. So anyways, I went and I got my mulch for my tree that I'm about to plant. And I went ahead and got started on grabbing these for when I do my pond. I may not do the whole base of the pond yet. It may take me some time. But I figured I'd at least grab some. But, while I was over there looking, because I was mostly looking for a rose I could press. Because as you saw, my other rose plant that puts out beautiful, extremely fragrant flowers, it's like the blossoms are mostly spent already. So I was looking for something that would be really good for pressing and that would offer some variation to my other rose, because it's very dark. So I saw these and they're very cute. And this is more of like a vintage plant. It's called, Captain Samuel Holland. Now this plant was patented in the United States in 1995. Okay, and that patent only lasted for 20 years, which means this is now in the public domain. So I'm going to be able to propagate this and sell this and things. And this rose is described as having a light fragrance, but I can tell you it had, almost infinite more smell than some of the other roses that they had there. But it doesn't smell as strong as my other rose plant. So I just want you to think about that, because if you want to live in a world where the roses still smell like roses, you need to plant roses that smell like roses. Okay, now I do really like some patented plants and some different variations, but like, for example, the black-leafed elderberries I just really love. But if they were making black-leafed elderberries that produce no berries, then I wouldn't be interested. So, if you are looking for things in your garden, there's some things that you're just not going to be able to determine if you're just ordering the plant online. They're creating these big, beautiful roses that smell like nothing. They're just husks. They're hollow. They're shells of themselves, basically, that are good to look at for a little while. Okay, so we have to make some decisions on what sort of world we want our grandchildren and their children to grow up in. Okay, it may seem like a small thing, but I find it disturbing that they're selling roses that don't smell like anything. I'm disturbed. Okay, they had some different ones in this time than they had last time. Again, like a lot of them, these big named, hybrid varieties that have gone through a lot of breeding and things like that. And so I was hopeful that this time, when I went through and smelled the different roses that they were selling in that part of the plant area, okay, I was hoping for different results than last time. And it was even more disappointing because last time there was one variety that did smell good. It was faint, but at least it had some smell. Whereas these other ones, it's like there's no smell almost. Like some of them, there is like no perceivable smell. Okay. So now these roses, I'm hoping to start. I know it might sound silly, but I want to start making some art. Quote unquote art, but basically just pressing some flowers and putting them on some nice paper and some nice frames, some different variations and different compositions, and maybe selling them on Etsy one of these winters, Because I can press them when they're in bloom, and I can just save all the ones that I press, and then put them together in the winter and sell some things. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be doing that on Etsy because chances are I'm going to have my Etsy account is going to be shadow banned and it's not going to show up in anybody's results for anything, is kind of what I'm used to. So at least locally, I'll have one more product that I can sell at like a farmer's market stand. Okay. But these are just very cute frilly flowers. Okay. They're not huge, but they're pretty and they smell good. Now, one other thing that I was surprised by is that Home Depot had this plant called sweet fern that I had never actually heard of before. So when I go to Home Depot, I do bring a tablet with me so that I can look things up on their Wi-Fi. I don't have internet on my phone, but I bring my tablet so I can look things up. So I looked this up, and this plant here is medicinal. Okay. It's medicinal. People use it to create smudge sticks as insect repellent. Some people use the catkin flowers here to infuse alcohol with. It has a scent to it that's interesting. Okay. And it's quite nice. So we'll see. Some people even just make a tea, like not even for medicinal purposes, out of the leaves. Though I read that it has just been described as palatable. So it's maybe not a super fancy tea. But some people don't realize that even black tea goes through extra processing. Okay. So I decided to go ahead and pick this up because it does fit into what I'm wanting to do as far as have landscape plants that are multi-purpose. I am going to do some that are just purely landscape plants. Okay. But when I can find ones like these that have medicinal properties, because it's used as like an expectorant and has all these different properties to it, I figured it would be a good thing to add since I've never heard of it. But we'll see. I'm hoping to do Facebook Marketplace sales and things like that, but I'm not really sure how badly I'm going to get nerfed when I try to do my online sales, so I may be kind of dependent on local sales. I'm not necessarily ready to start shipping plants for a while. So, we'll see how it goes. But I don't want to ramble too long. This video is already going on over 8 minutes. I just wanted you all to give considerations of some of these things that we take for granted, like the fact that roses are supposed to smell good and be fragrant and smell like roses. Okay, we assume that the world is always going to have roses that will smell good. In the meantime, all sorts of people are making all sorts of money selling you roses that smell like nothing. That's happening right now today. Okay? So just be mindful of what you're putting in your gardens and what sort of world you're planting for your grandkids. Take it easy, everybody.